A lot of fingerstyle blues guitar lessons on YouTube focus on technique, but are not teaching you a well-known fingerstyle blues song. That's not how I do it. Well, I woke up this morning. Well, I woke up this morning. Well, I woke up this morning with them Monday morning blues. I have several decades of teaching experience, and I very strongly believe that the way to master musical concepts is to learn songs. It locks the stuff in. We're going to learn how to play my own transcription of Monday Morning Blues by Mississippi John Hurt, an absolutely classic fingerstyle blues song from one of the masters. In this lesson, we're going to learn the three main sections of the song: the main riff, the verse riff, and the turnaround. As we look at each section, we are also going to learn how we use rhythm to help us learn and understand fingerstyle and all guitar. And we're also going to learn any techniques that we come up against or little gotchas that we have to overcome. We'll start off with the main riff. C1 again. So this is the main riff. The first thing we want to notice is the rhythm. You can see that we're playing a note on beat 1 and then 2, and then 3 and 4 and in the second measure we start with 1 and 2 and then play 3, 4. So if we put that all together to think about it, we go 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. When we play that, we immediately recognize that familiar phrasing that is an integral part of the song itself. Let's have a look at execution. And if you're new to fingerstyle, bear with me, because I don't teach this like anybody else. Okay? What we do is we see certain notes on the tab, and we just play those notes. Okay? John Hurt played mostly with a thumb and one finger. He's playing one thumb and one finger throughout this. That's all you need. So what we're doing here, if you look at the demo example, I'm playing all the low notes with my thumb. This is a fingerstyle standard. Playing all the low notes with my thumb with the right hand, and all the high notes I'm just playing either with the pointer or the middle finger. You can use whichever one you're more comfortable with. For your purposes, you can just do this, thumb and pointer. Okay, here's an important technical point about fingerstyle. You'll hear a lot of teachers talking about independent thumb, practice the thumb. You're going to have to practice the thumb for 6 months, just playing the bass notes, you know. This is a giant misunderstanding. The whole purpose of fingerstyle guitar is to allow you to access the guitar in a similar manner to playing the piano. Okay, so as with the piano, the music shows us certain notes to play at specific times, and we play the notes that are shown at the times that they're shown. Sometimes those notes are notes with our thumb, sometimes they're notes with thumb and finger, sometimes it's just finger. It doesn't matter. We practice and we play with all fingers of both hands all the time, period. Never mind all the thumb independence mumbo jumbo. That's all it is. If you really want to improve your sense of timing in fingerstyle and your understanding of the song, listen to the original recording of the song that you're trying to learn frequently. Practice and study a bit, and then follow up and listen to the song or a portion of the song or the piece that you've been working on. And then listen in between your practice sessions, listen after your practice sessions. It will kick you into the right place, and especially with respect to rhythm. Okay? Oh, okay, so here's a specific technical tip about these two measures. In measure 2, we're playing this. Play the beginning of measure 2. We're placing pinky and middle at the same time, and I'm pulling off the pinky after one and. So I'm getting this. If you place both fingers at the same time before you start playing that measure, then you're going to get a more legato note and more sustain out of that one and note, that note that you're holding with the pinky. Okay, if I play this the way that a lot of beginners would play it, you would play. And what happens is you get a slight muting at the end of that note because there's nothing being held down. There's no note being held down after beat one and. You're getting this. And it's more staccato. What we really want is we want both notes down, and when you listen to John Hurt play this, you'll hear this on his recording. It's a little bit more legato. It almost sounds like a pull-off. Okay, so pay attention when you're playing that first thing, put down pinky and middle, and play this. And you're gonna get that ring on that first one and beat is gonna last. Here's the main riff again. Okay, that's the main riff. It's used in between other components throughout the entire song, of course. So it's the first thing you want to work on. And practice it slowly, repeatedly, and while you're practicing it, initially, you want to state the rhythm out loud while you're practicing. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, 4. Okay, count the rhythm out. It will help you to internalize the rhythm. This is a core concept that we want to drill into our heads and into our hands when we're trying to learn fingerstyle. I'm going to provide a link up here to the Mississippi John Hurt recording in a link up above. But I just want to warn you, a lot of these old blues recordings are not necessarily in concert pitch, so you may not be able to play along with it. I haven't checked this one recently. So that wraps up the main riff. The verse riff. Okay, so here's the verse riff. The instrumental verse riff. That's the verse riff. This is the verse riff. This riff is kind of standard, but it is a core component, but there are 4 different variations in the song. There's the basic instrumental, which I just played, and I'll show you again. And then there's a basic vocal that we normally sing over. There's a fancy vocal, which is usually kind of like a response to the basic vocal that answers where the singing has been. And then there's a second fancy vocal version. So today, I'm just going to teach you the basic instrumental version because it contains all of the components that we need and the phrasing is all nicely laid out. And in a part 2 lesson that's going to follow this, I'm going to take you through all the other 3 variations and show you how they're used. Okay, so I'll restate that again. Okay, so first thing we want to do is pay attention to the rhythm. The rhythm of this is 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so the second measure is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, the first one is 8th notes at the beginning. 1 and 2 and then quarter notes. 3, 4. The next one is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so here's another technique note. There are several ways to play measure 2, but at the end of measure 2, we want to end up back at the main riff. So what I'm going to show you is the easiest way, and what's in the tab is the easiest way to play this is we switch position on right at beat 4. And the way we create the time to move from position 5 down to position 1 is we use the 2 open strings, D and E. Same thing, I'm just going a little more slowly so you can see that second measure. There's measure 1. And so that wraps up the verse riff. That's the verse riff. I'll just play it again here. As I've mentioned, there are 3 other variations in this riff. come on back for lesson 2, and I'll review this and go through the other 3 variations so you can learn all of them. Okay, the turnaround riff. Here's what happens at the end. At the end of every little vocal riff, at every little vocal verse, we do a turnaround riff that goes through E, E7, E6, back to A, and that's this. I'll show you the whole turnaround here first. This is C8, the whole turnaround. Okay, and that last beat is on 4-and, and that takes us back to the main. Okay, so let's start off, and it's built, the turnaround is 3 measures long. By the way, just a funny little matter of interest, Monday Morning Blues is a 13-bar blues, and these are the 3 bars that make it a 13-bar blues. We're just going to start off and look at the E measures, the first 2 measures of this, okay? So first, again, let's look at the rhythm. It goes 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. That's the first measure. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. That's the first measure. And then the second measure is 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and. Okay? That's the rhythm. And I'll just play those 2 measures again. Just M1 and M2. So just the first 2 measures. Okay, and then we'll just take a quick look at measure 3. Now we're into, I play this in an A position, okay, and just because it's easy to grab it all, so I'm barring as if I was playing a bar at A. Here's the A measure, or the 3rd measure of the turnaround. 3rd measure of the turnaround. And that takes us back out to, and that goes back to the main riff. Okay, so you can see the rhythm here is 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and then we're back to the main riff at the top. I'm going to play the whole turnaround, and I'm going to come out to the main at the end. Okay, so finally, let's just to summarize. If we put it all together, here's what you have. So today we had a look at Monday Morning Blues. We looked at the main riff, we looked at one version of the verse riff, the instrumental version, and we looked at the structure of the turnaround. Our purpose today is very focused. We're just trying to learn enough about each component of the song that we can start to practice. This song is not complicated. It's not too complicated for you as a sort of beginner to intermediate player. However, it does take a substantial amount of practice. Break it down as I have done for you and work on each of these parts on their own and then start trying to put them together. As I mentioned earlier, there are a total of 4 verse variations, very slight variations on the verse, but I'm not presenting them all here today because you have enough to start with. The part 2 lesson is in production now. Come on back when you're ready and I'll break down all of the different verse variations and I'll show you where they're used. If you're looking for more fingerstyle lessons, just click on one of the videos coming up here or here and have fun. Please come back and visit Bonner Guitar again soon. I look forward to seeing you then.